Hey, I'm Brett. This is Desiree, and you're watching The Engage Live right here on the Engage Network. Back at it again on a Tuesday. I hope your Tuesday is going swimmingly. Thanks for joining us here on Facebook, YouTube, listening on iTunes, SoundCloud, Spotify, whatever platform you use. Thanks for joining the party. And it is an honor that you're spending, 10 to 15 minutes with us this week. On our last episode, we were talking about Trust issues.
Yep.
Big feedback, big response. So we wanted to kind of continue on in the same vein, but shift gears entirely. So you're like, how on earth do you continue on the same vein, but shift gears entirely? Well, it's miraculous.
You have
but
a
I
gift.
can tell you,
have a gift.
It's possible. We want to talk today about rest. Maybe we could put it in a question. One of the most searched phrases on YouTube, when I type in, how do I? People are asking, how do I relax?
It's a big question.
Yeah, so we're living in the most connected age that we've ever lived in. Because we're connected all the time. So it's getting harder and harder and harder to disconnect. We're also finding what we think to be recreation and relaxation in being connected.
Yeah.
So, scrolling through Instagram. How many of you can't sleep? So the first thing that you do is pick up your phone and you just scroll.
Endless, mindless scrolling.
Scroll. Yeah. Like you were looking at 3 months ago posts, and then you're like, if I like it, is this going to be weird because I'm just such a troll job. So we use our connectivity to relax. We know that the world is shifting in terms of screen time. Televisions are actually becoming a second screen.
Yeah.
So advertising is shifting. It's moving to your phone and to your device because you're not paying attention. On PVR, you're fast forwarding through the commercials, and if you're not, you're going to let the commercials roll and look down at your phone. So then you get distracted into your phone and you get late going back to your show.
Y'all know what we're talking about.
Yeah, because you're going back into your phone. So you're trying to disconnect and you're trying to find some rest. You're trying to find some peace. You're trying to find a break.
Yeah.
And yet to do that, you're getting more and more and more connected, and you're not giving yourself a break. You're not letting yourself off the hook.
And you're not actually resting.
I need to also come out and say my screen time numbers, thanks to Apple Weekly, are off the charts, and not off the charts in a good way, in a bad way. Use it all the time. Now, that being said, I work off my phone a lot, and social media is a part of the job. You're watching this. That's just me probably making some excuses as well. We could all probably do with a little less screen time.
It's all about intentionality, right?
But I think it's plaguing our ability to find rest, to find relaxation, and to find peace.
Yeah, 100% it is. I mean, the whole reason we're even talking about this today, I think, is because this is a huge, huge struggle of mine. I have been battling with this for a while. You can attest to this.
Every night I'm like, hey, what are you doing over there?
Well, not just the screen time though, but it goes deeper than that. Like if you know me, you know that
#scroll issues.
Okay. If you know me, you know that I'm a night owl. My brain just like clicks on late at night. And when you work a job, when you have kids, nothing really stops until bedtime.
Yeah.
And for me, that's when I get going. And I'm constantly, telling you and complaining and probably telling everybody else in the world how tired I am and how I just can't seem to get rest, and it's really hard for me to shut down, and it's really hard for me to even it's like this thing that I'm grappling to, staying awake at night, because I just need my me time and I need my quiet time, and I need that what I have in my head conjured up as rest time.
Right.
And in thinking about this the last little bit, I'm starting to learn that I have this false idea of what rest actually is.
Wow.
And I'm like, trust me, this is really hard for me, and I'm
battling.
I'm fighting it. I'm fighting
it.
I am. I'm fighting it really hard because I feel like this is just what it's supposed to look like or what I need. But like the Lord kind of smacked me a little bit in the face with this verse, and it's in Matthew 11:28. And if you've been in church any length of time, you've probably heard this before. And it says, "Come to me, all you who are weary and heavy laden, and I will give you rest." And I have heard that for years and years and years, but it didn't really hit me until the other day that he's saying, come to me. Yes, okay, come to, I'm going to worship, I'm going to pray, I'm going to come to him. But the fact that he is my true source of rest. So, when I come to you and I say, I need my me time, I just need my self-care, I need my,
Don't say self-care.
Sorry.
Do not, I will.
We're not going there.
I'm
not taking you there.
Control.
I'm not taking you there.
Please don't get me started about self-care.
we're not going there. Can you just like censor right there? While I believe there's a necessity for resting and sitting
Taking
and
care
like
of
taking
yourself.
care of yourself and taking time, I'm not negating that. But what I'm realizing for myself, at least I can't speak for anyone else, but for myself, is that what I have deemed me time should actually be shifted to what I kind of, in a silly way have labeled he time, because I'm finding that I actually, even though I forget it all the time, get rest, get rejuvenated, get purpose, get fulfilled, get all of that in spending more time with him, more time.
Him being Jesus,
Him
not
being
another
Jesus,
man.
sorry. But more time intentionally seeking the Lord, spending time in prayer, spending time, in devotional time is like, can be a really big struggle for me. But actually, I have the time. I'm just utilizing it elsewhere, calling it me time.
Right.
That's just me being honest. Like, it's opposite to what it should be. And that was a big slap in the face. But I needed it. I really needed it.
Okay, I'm going to throw you on the spot, but that's why we do these things.
Yeah, great.
Engaged Life is all about taking our
Yeah.
Sunday experience, pulling it into the real life. What's
Yeah.
the practical, everyday, real life, nitty-gritty thing?
Yeah.
So we say things like, me time needs to be he time. We're like, mic drop. Oh,
Yeah.
can't believe she said that. Awesome. And then you're like, okay, well, we need to spend more time with the Lord. And
Yeah.
people are like, okay, like how do I do that? Like,
I think for me, part one has literally been just this realization that I'm spending my time, my me time, on things that I am learning are actually not bringing me rest and causing me relax, but I'm calling it that. So part of it is
Right.
just that realization. But second of all, I think it's actually like analyzing where your time is going.
wow.
Because until you sit down and actually look at the things that you're spending your time on, because I'm real good at being like, I don't have time for this, or I'm too busy. But actually, if I sit down and look at my day and how I spent those moments in my day, especially my nights, because that's like, that's that time for me. There is a lot of time that is going to,
Instagram.
random things, Instagram,
Pinterest.
TV, Pinterest, or just like random things, like even cleaning the house, things that could probably wait, but I have deemed this is the time I have to do it. It's just analyzing where that time is actually being spent. And if you really look at it, you'll probably realize that there is time going to things that don't matter, or, you're giving up that time and you're not even realizing it. Like, you're not even thinking about it, because it just becomes a habit. For me, it's become a habit. And it's just what I've told myself, and it's not actually true. It's just what I've told myself is what I need, and I've convinced myself that's what I need, but it's not actually what I need.
So we're going to take some time with the Lord. You're saying the first step is realizing that he is greater than me. So he time is as important as me time. So
Yeah.
if we're going to try and define what that actually looks like, step two would be, so I'll say for me, we had this conversation about how, you kind of wake up in the morning and you check your phone and you check, weather's there, all that sort of stuff is there. But the optics of like two people laying in bed in the morning, look at their phones,
Yeah.
is like pretty brutal.
Yep.
So I made a personal decision that in the morning, before I look at anything else on my phone, I'm going to read the Bible. I've got a daily reading plan on the YouVersion Bible app. Shout out YouVersion. And I actually got part of this idea from Levi Lusko in his book, I Declare War. I'm taking control of my habits, and I'm taking control of those things.
Taking
and
control of your time. That
time,
is
yeah.
what it is. It's taking control of that time that we do have.
Yes, so before I look at anything else,
Yeah.
I'm not allowed to do anything on my phone, self-imposed,
Yeah.
before I read my daily,
Yeah.
my Bible reading, because I want that to come first. I
Yeah.
want that to be the very first thing
Yeah.
that I do. It's a small thing, but it's been a very beneficial thing, because
Yeah.
it's like, don't touch it. Unless you're prepared
Yeah.
to do that, don't touch it. And
Yeah.
it reclaims that time and reprioritizes that. So I think Bible reading is one
huge.
part of that
Yeah,
time,
it's
because
a big part.
we're like, God, speak to me. And you're like, if only he wrote a book right to me that I could use in every area of my life. Oh, wait, he did. It's called the Bible. If only I could read it. But I don't understand how to read it. Get a better translation. Don't read something hard to read. Read something easy to read. That's a whole nother podcast for a whole nother day. Maybe we need to do on how to read the Bible.
Yeah.
If you want that, hit us up with the likes
Let us
below.
know. Yep.
So I read that. I use a reading plan off of YouVersion. This one's a 30-day. So at the end of 30 days, I'll pick another one. Those
Yeah.
things kind of help you.
Yeah.
And I love like leveling up, and I love game theory. So like I'm on a hot streak right now. It tells me how many days
You
I've
like a
been in the app in
challenge.
the year, and then I'm on a hot streak, and I don't want to break my hot streak. And I've
Yeah.
got my perfect weeks rolling, and I get so mad when I was like, I need to read today. I didn't, I broke my rule, and I was like, didn't do the thing in the morning, and then I was trying to read, and then I like read at like 12:02, but then it wrecked my hot streak because it was the next day over. My perfect streak was broken. Not now. I'm on another perfect
you
streak,
go.
so don't worry, friends. I'm back on it. But wow, that
Now everyone
rattled me.
everyone is holding you accountable to this. So
Good, and let me hold you accountable too, friends.
Yep.
So reading the Bible, that's good.
Yeah.
I'm going to say make it in a manageable amount of time.
Yeah.
If you say, hey, I'm going to set aside 30 minutes for reading your Bible every day, I doubt it. If that's where you're going to start, I mean, maybe you're a reader, maybe that's realistic, but what's realistic to your life? And what's something that you can implement into a routine that you can actually stick with? Because if you're just got so much to read, you're like, I'm going to read 5 chapters a day. If you've got so much to read that you're just reading it out of like
feeling
just
like
getting
the
it
obligation.
done,
yeah.
then you're not actually reading anything. You're skimming to get it finished. So if you're going to spend time, let it be purposeful time. But let's just circle back. So we got reading the Bible. And then I think like meditation from the Christian perspective. So from pretty much every other perspective, meditation is emptying yourself of all your thoughts, all your, emptying your mind. Christian meditation is actually filling your mind. And it's filling your mind and filling yourself with scripture, with the word of God, with some worship, just like filling yourself back up with God. I think you clear yourself out so you can fill yourself back up. I think that's really important. When we're talking about rest, I think we struggle to find rest or relaxation or any of those things because we're eager to do things and we feel like we have to keep up because we're scrolling and people are living their best life now. We've got our schedules. We won't break our schedule or our routine. Even if it's a broken routine, we're so committed to our routine that we won't break it. How do we find rest in the midst of that, the chaos, if you would?
The chaos, Life is just busy. It just is. And that's not such a bad thing. Like, I think we're also very quick to use that line. Like, someone asks you how you are, and it's just like, how often do you actually say, oh, I'm so busy?
So busy,
You know what? I'm coming to realize, I am, you are, everybody is busy. Everybody is busy with whatever they're doing. So we kind of have to just like shift to, okay, we are busy. So what? Like, what are we going to do with that? In thinking about this idea of rest, like, I feel like part of what it looks like to rest, to be really at rest and at peace and restful within yourself, comes out of feeling like you are living the life God has called you to live, that you're walking the steps God is calling you to walk, that you are feeling fulfilled in who you are and who you've been created to be. And I think a lot of times the question isn't actually so much like, how do I rest? How do I, feel like I can just breathe? And I think a lot of times that actually stems out of a restless soul and just being so like pinned into or doing all of the things that maybe are not actually what you're supposed to be doing, or you're just not feeling fulfilled or feeling like you're living the life that God is actually truly calling you to live. And so within yourself, there's this restlessness, which is not allowing you to live at rest.
You can't find rest because you're restless.
Yeah.
So we reclaim our time. Matthew 6 is where your treasure is, there your heart is.
Yeah.
Time is one of those things.
Time
it is our treasure. We value it.
Yeah.
So where you're putting your time, that's where your heart is.
Yeah.
If you're putting your time into scrolling, you're probably putting your time into searching for something.
Yeah.
And probably the reason you feel so restless is because you feel unsettled because you're trying to find purpose. You could reclaim and re-own your time if you went to the purpose giver, the life giver, the one who can give you hope, and you kind of reframed your time around investing it there instead of investing it in searching. We know the answer. His name is Jesus.
Yeah, and I would even put it out there as a challenge.
Wow.
I think
challenge. Do we have a graphic challenge?
I don't know.
The Engaged Life Challenge.
But I would challenge you because I think a lot of times we think that is more work, or we, again, just have this idea about what will bring me rest. It's almost more like, what do I like to do, as opposed to what's actually going to fill me and give me the rest that I actually need. So I would challenge you to
self-care epidemic.
Just try it. Just try. Try going instead of to your phone, instead of to Instagram, instead of to TV, instead of to things that I like to call mindless things, because I feel like, at the end of the day, I just want something mindless and brainless to do because I just need a break and I just need a rest. And I have convinced myself that those are the things that will provide that for me. But I would challenge myself and challenge you that those are actually things that are not truly bringing you rest. And to just try switching things up a little bit and just see what happens.
That's awesome. We find rest when we stop being restless. We stop being restless when we find life, when we find purpose, we find hope. You can do that by heading to engagechurch.ca, hit the Jesus button, and there's a whole lot of stuff there. There's some tools that are going to help you find purpose and life and hope. Thank you for watching. Don't forget, we got show notes that help you out. You got to dive into that tangible takeaway and ask some of those questions, or have some of those questions asked with you. And if you're watching with a small group, use those as some small group discussions. You can find them them all at engagechurch.ca and hit the Engaged Life button. Thank you for watching. Thank you for talking. Thank you, Libby, for making all of our dreams come true. This is the Engaged Life right here, extended cut on the Engaged Network.